If there's a specific knowledge here, why is there a misuse in the first place? Why is there a misunderstanding of, say, like with the dietary element, like with the mucusless diet? This knowledge has been there, right? Like and it's been before Professor Arnold Ehret. He was finding the information and compiling it and formed a system. But then we're living in today, and this is not common practice. The knowledge of the mucusless diet healing system, the knowledge of herbs, like who's growing herbs, right? Like I could count on a hand, like who's around me that's like growing some herbs and really knowing what each herb is doing and how they work with their systems at different times. So this kind of information, and then the astrology, the cosmology, people having this knowledge, and now navigating, we on Google Maps and GPS trying to find our way to the park. What, you have any thoughts on that?
It's kind of like with the age of Aquarius. You know, the ideas that all the secrets will be revealed. Like you can only hold like a beach ball underwater for so long.
Okay.
You know, so like
yeah,
people withhold knowledge because it's useful to them to be the only holders of that knowledge. Because like you know that's one thing I feel like nowadays, like I get that like the idea of wanting to own things or like intellectual property or certain things, like like to own an idea, it's just kind of a strange concept. But some people really feel like they own ideas and they're legitimized to withhold these ideas from people.
I see.
Yeah,
that's deep, that thought, because you led me into the idea of patents, like how you were talking about that with the ownership, having intellectual property, where it's not viewed as, okay, this is an idea that came through me, and now I'm inspired to do the work in order to help out humanity through being inspired, being influenced by this idea, where one might take that inspiration and put it on them as if they created the thought or created their body. Like, and then and then that's where that specific thought can lead to limiting people to access that information that could that so the limitation of sharing that information could be a detriment to, say, like the healing of our nation, just the healing of our people, where if you were to be inspired and put information out as just a collective pool of information, we could all be benefiting from those downloads and from what you're sharing, that wisdom.
So but then that would show, all right, because so one thing with another reason people might justify withholding the knowledge is because people will misuse the knowledge, or they're not ready for it, so they're doing it in their best benefit. But then exactly how you're saying, it's like this these mental gymnastics that these people do. where they're like, no, we can't give them the knowledge to free themselves because they might go crazy or whatever. So we'll just, it's like, so we'll just keep them where they're at. But then when you get like, I don't know, man, like, because I don't want to speak so generally. It's hard for people to know exactly what I'm referencing.
Okay.
Sometimes, but
would you be able to? And this is just, that's where this was more a personal. I was asking for your personal thought. That's it. Yeah. This wasn't like, oh, this is it, or like there's controversy. Like, it's not like, it's none of that. It's just like a curious thought of why you think we start out from these places where you look at practices like martial arts and how deep that knowledge goes, and the secrecy of sharing information in that realm, to where like we're in a time where it's like, who knows the art of self-defense and that art of hard work mixed with the herbology as well, that the studies of using those herbs on the skin to condition bone and condition skin, and these kind of practices, this knowledge mixed with the astrology, how we're using the stars to guide us to different places, and to look at, all right, now we have a bunch of street lights and freeways and cars that take the stars away from us. Like I'm in a spot where I look up, it's not a lot of stars, and that's knowledge that's up there. The freeway's not knowledge. The street lights aren't. That's not knowledge. Like that, it's helpful. They're tools. It's what our world is now, but that's not the natural way. Like that's not where we come from. So I was just checking in on like your thoughts on how you see life becoming how it's become, regarding that knowledge that we no longer have, or it's just rare to find it and learn it. It's just harder to learn that stuff.
Yeah. So like another real big influence for me was is George Washington Carver. And one of the things with him, like he just did so many amazing things, but I guess one thing I really relate with him is that people would ask him, like, where did you learn all this stuff? Like, you just like revolutionizing all of these industries. Like, where could, like, and he would just say, like, he learned from the plants. He's like, well, the plants like spoke to me, or whatever, the universe, or like just this intuitive learning that like he figured out so many things just like, I don't know, maybe he had some he was privy to certain info, and he figured out a lot of it on his own too. But he just like all of our plastics, like rubbers, paints, glues, just so much stuff that like industry, like how stuff is manufactured, like he just really wanted to make everybody to be their own like creators of like civilization, of high civilization.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
George
just
Washington
someone
Carver,
really to study. Like I would highly recommend. They couldn't not speak about him. Like everyone, they just tell you a little bit of something about in history, and they don't give you a full story, but they just can't deny certain people. It was like he just had such a huge role to play. Amongst all that, so many other people, but he's just like, but it's kind of he's kind of like downplayed. We're like, oh, he was just a peanut farmer, and he just did this or that, but like they don't really go into how like these people were like Henry Ford's going there begging him to come work at his factory, and like just all these, and he's like, no, I'm fine, like where I'm at. Like he was at the Tuskegee Institute with Booker T. Washington, and so like when they're creating their when the Tuskegee Institute was first being founded, all they had was the land. They didn't have any buildings. And so between the faculty and the students, they built all their original buildings, built all their mattresses that they stepped up, built all their shoes, they made all their bricks. And then like, so they didn't have a laboratory. So George Washington Carver takes all the students to the nearby junkyard, and they go looking around for broken bottles and tubes and whatever stuff, and cutting them away, whatever, and built a whole laboratory just from out a junkyard. You know, for him to do all these things to make plastic. It's just amazing, like, because that's right after the Civil War, so things were in like disrepair. You know, but even amidst that kind of place, people could still just like rise up and just build such. It really kind of reminds me like how ants are, where like if you destroy an anthill, they don't all just start grieving and what do we do, and you know, or just be like, oh my gosh, you ruined my life's work. Like, I don't even, like, I'm so depressed. I'm just going to go, you know, like, I'm done with society.
Yeah.
Like, they just start rebuilding.
Yeah.
So, like.
Yo. That's hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
All right. So, like, with that ant spirit and progressing on the mucusless diet transition, how do you tie in the spirit of the ant with the life work of practicing the mucusless diet?
Well, like you see, the ants, they're always busy, you know, and they work together. And if ants don't, like, just even speaking about the mucusless diet, like, what do ants eat?
Sugar.
What are ants? Well, so you have those ants that live in people's houses and they eat, right?
Oh,
but like
I see.
These ants out in nature stuff. I don't know. One thing like Dr. Sebi said, he says like the ants, they don't even eat the leaf. They eat the mycelium that grows on the leaf. And like the ants, they're working all day long and they're fueled by the odors of the plants.
Okay. So with what you're expressing, I do recall, and I'm going to bring up Professor Arnold Ehret in the mucusless diet. He did express at a certain point being nourished by scents. And I'm thinking it's in the formula of life where you remove enough obstruction, being able to take in the nitrogen from the air, like assimilating the nitrogen from the air, being able to utilize different scents around us. Like, so my relation with that thought is when we would train running around the outside, whenever I would run into or run by a rosemary plant, I would just like squeeze my hand around the leaves and just like breathe in the oils that end up on my hand. And then that sort of invigorates me to keep running on. So I'll use that methodology to spark that endurance.
Definitely. Yeah, like essential oils.
You said like that?
You use like you use essential oils?
I do have some, yeah. And I'm a part of Young Living. So I do, cool. Yeah. I have a diffuser. I want to get into them more, Like just, yeah, the usage. I'm still trying to figure out actually the different usages, because I use it more as a scent, like just as an environment aspect of my room. Say I just put on some lavender and like lavender lemon or something like that, where even like during the enema, like in the how to perform an enema, lemon enema video I introduced my diffuser and just created that environment with the essential oils going on. Do you use those?
Yeah, I do. One of my friends, they got their like subscription with doTERRA.
Okay.
And so that's kind of like Young Living and doTERRA. From what I hear, they're like the kind of top of the line therapeutic grade. Like you could take them internally. If you wanted to. For some of them really burn.
Yeah.
But some of them are very gentle too.
Yeah.
Like some of them you can put right on your skin, and others you need to dilute. But I use them more so, for the aromatic property than like some people take them internally.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Morse kind of steered me away from that, because he talked about the oils are the most like active compounds.
Steered away from what? Which part?
Steered away from really playing with like intaking these oils so heavily.
Got
like
you.
From the essential oils, like that are all he just said like you just got to be careful working with those oils, because like, and you can feel some of them you put on your skin and they burn. So what's
gonna happen inside,
unless you really know what you're doing, like with the herbs, how to mix them right to get the desired effect. I haven't really taken them internally much.
Got you. Yeah, I was similar, or I've been similar in the practice of the Mucusless Diet Healing System. Essential oils didn't seem to fit in so much with the way I was cooking, where I would end up just eating the fruit or the plants or the grains or whatever I was eating. I'll just eat that. I wouldn't necessarily say like put lemon essential oil on the veggies, but I would squeeze lemon on it, like it just, I would use the actual whole food. And that's kind of been an obstacle in delving more into the essential oils, because I would constantly look at the whole food to provide, as opposed to the extracted oil to place onto the food.
Yeah. I'll use the oils sometimes, like when I'm fasting.
Yeah.
Just to kind of give me like some stimulant of like a smell, but like you're not eating. So like they're useful there. And then too, like with the bugs, sometimes I'll use them as like bug repellent. One of my favorite is frankincense.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And that has a history, the frankincense. People could check into that. But so I did find the passage about scent, just because we were talking about it and I didn't want to just pass it by. But it is in lesson 5, the formula of life, where Ehret gets into the understanding of where vitality comes from. So first, vitality does not descend primarily and directly from food, but rather from the facts of how far and how much the function of the human engine is obstructed, braked by obstructions of mucus and toxemias. Second, removing O by artificially increasing P and shaking vibrating tissues through physical treatments is done at the expense of V vitality. Then, moving third, fourth, fifth. And then when you go lower than that, it's electricity, ozone, light, especially sunlight, and odor, good smells of fruits and flowers. So that's where, and then as I mentioned earlier, further, it is not impossible that under such clean natural conditions, nitrogen of the air may be assimilated. So just touching in on all the different ways we can take in energy, and we could take in that play that you mentioned earlier, like you were talking about when you were younger, you found the fuel from playing more important than the fuel from food, or the fixation and just that focus on food is
Right.
more like the play. This is the work. Like the play was the work that you were passionate about.
Right. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest things I think for practicing the diet.
Yeah.
Is you have to live a fulfilling life so that you're not trying to fill it with food all the time. Those voids. Because otherwise it's like I've just found, like, if I'm not doing creative things in life or removing obstructions around me, like it's just harder to do that inner work as well.
Okay, can you expound on that? Because I think that's a very, very beautiful point.
Yeah. Like, so I guess Ehret speaks about, for instance, when they're doing the long fast, and his idea of vitality isn't you lifted 10,000 pounds or you ran 400 miles an hour. It's like you walked for 2.5 days. You just walked, but for 2.5 days. So like the idea of this constant, just like this kind of like methodical moving along, like just these gears shifting, or just like where like I just definitely took the, like, always doing something, even if it's like I like to exhaust the physical body, like kind of as much as I can, like not just exhaust, like go run real quick, but like throughout the day I like to feel like I did everything like I could have done that day.
Okay.
And then just be like tired in my body at night. You know, like that's like a good day's. But then even when the body's tired, there's still always things like mental things, like speaking with people or writing stuff or reading or like music or those things you can do, like that you don't need so much bodily force to do, but just kind of being able to structure your day where you're always like, regardless where your energy level is, like you always have things to do. And that fills your, so you're not feeling like you're living a full life, so you don't need to fill yourself with the foods to fill that void so much. So when you still eat and stuff, but you're just not emotionally eating, I think, as much.
Okay.
Like you're really eating.
I'm getting I feel the, like that can be a subtle shift of focus, where what I'm hearing is it can be nuanced. It can be because you're expressing a full day, where some people may go, oh yeah, like I have a full day of work. Like I'm working, I'm going out to the park, or I'm playing music and that sort of thing. But there's an attachment to when lunch is or dinner time, where if you were focused on the specific passions and your loves and the crafts and having meetings with people and sharing great conversation, there's that potential to find that you're fueled off of that. You end up, it's like, it could be 3:00. You haven't even eaten yet. You were just chilling, talking to your friend and doing computer work and getting it done. And then afterwards, when you feel in your body, you can gauge, okay, now it's time for me to eat. Let me fuel up and keep it moving. Or, oh man, I feel like through all that, I'm having an elimination. So how do I need to slow this down or deal with it? Like, what do I need to do to deal with it in order to keep things balanced? But it's just like, it sounds like it's just a different way of approaching food when it comes to having a full life, and sort of just sort of focused on that social conditioned aspect of eating food, if that makes sense. I try to really articulate that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Nothing comes to mind to really like speak more on that, but no, definitely that's I'd say how I'm feeling.
Nice. Yeah, I just felt like that point was really important, so I wanted to emphasize it in that kind of way, like when it comes to eating, just letting go more so of that attachment to the food. And when it comes up, it's not like there's not a joy or an enjoyment or a love for the food. It's a true love for the food. It's a true appreciation for this food that is available. Just like, what is it doing? Like this, I'm eating this apple, like how you just using the tart apple. I'm eating this apple and it's removing waste from my body. It's cleaning me. Or even if I'm eating the granola like once in 2 years, or once like whatever that comes up, it's like I've been working this whole time cleaning up. And even if it was like an elimination happening and you were able to work with those foods, like work with the granola, and being grateful for that availability, to where it's not being even more aggressive on your elimination, and now you're sitting just needing to chill out more. It just, like thankful for balance through being more aware of the system. And I think that's why I'm like so into your point, because it just feels like it feels like that's where some people, they'll have a hiccup on, well man, like I'm cutting out my, I know people like, oh, cutting out my my jambalaya stew, and oh man, like I'm not eating my pizza, my burritos. Like, man, I love burritos, man. Like, how you? So it's like, nah, man, it's not about that. It's about understanding what the foods are doing and using them properly, and just seeing now with your new awareness, what are you going to do with that awareness? Like, you see this is obstructing. Do you love it that much? Do you love yourself that much? Like, how, it's just, now you're asking questions. How badly do I want to eat this pizza? if it comes to my health and what I'm carrying on for the future, for my youth, and for others watching, just, yeah. It goes there.
Like, people are gonna look back in the future, and they'll be like, man, what was the real detriment to humanity? And they'll be like, wow, pizza really did a number on them. Like, it's so simple. Like, it's something where it's just like, pizza?
Yeah.
Like, pizza did, like, for real, that's what you're gonna, and it's like, yeah, like it's so simple maybe for us.
Yeah.
But for some people, it's just such a like foreign like relation.
Yeah. Like how it relates to detrimental qualities. Like how bad is it, basically? Like, well, how bad? Like, I'm just comfortably eating this slice, or like eating this pie. Like, how detrimental is this act right now, accumulating over time?
Yeah. And that's what it is. It's the accumulated. It's not like pizza's so terrible on its own. Like it's not great. It's not great, but it's not like gonna kill you. It's not like heroin or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, it's the accumulated practice that really gets us in trouble. I think a lot of times.
Straight up. What is your message to those tuning in?
Word. I think it's a self-reliance. It's a message of providing for self, because we're living, especially in the United States, in a very consumer driven society.
Yeah.
And that's never been the case in all of humanity, where people thought that they could just consume and not give back and think that things are still going to go smooth. So we've been riding on this bubble now for how many decades, and things have been pretty good. But if people don't step up with being industrious and knowing how to fix their own houses or car or just different tools like that, I just feel like we're really at a loss, because we need that outside. Like the more we can just in-source, especially like in the mucusless diet community, like if we have someone who knows how to do everything, like, well, then we have a village. Mm-hmm. So that would be the message, is like, apart from being like getting as healthy as is reasonable for you, learning as like much skills it's gonna benefit like building like a better society. As far as cleaning water or building healthy buildings that don't pollute us or the environment, you know, growing our own food, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. That's because in like, other than the health piece, being self-sustaining and community contributing, being able to build the society, it's like looking at those traits of what you want to see. Like you want to see these buildings that are environmentally friendly, and how do I build that? What are the steps to learning how to build that? Because that can come in handy when it's time. Like if anything was to go awry, oh, I could build that. Or I've learned the science of building, so I can use these rocks to build something temporary until I find this material to build something else. Like you're just more skilled. Where if you were just focused on the health piece, or the diet piece rather, the live it, then you might not know how to build that thing or work with fixing this car. So there can be a lack. Yeah.
And two, everything's based off the human body anyways. You know, like the cameras, like your eye, and
headphones or speakers in your ear.
Yeah. So it's all based on like the way the car digests the fuel, like is how your body digests. So like you can always relate those sciences of the internal sciences with the external sciences.
Okay.
And I think that it makes you better knowing both of them. Like I think knowing those, say, external sciences, like it's going to help you with the internal, like they relate, so you can always kind of bridge them.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Being able to use the example that you see outside of you to also use it for what's going on inside of you, and vice versa.
Right.
Yeah. Yo, all right. So where can we find you if people are looking around?
Yeah, like so I got my YouTube channel I just started up. It's Mound Builder Bay. That's MOUNDBUILDER one Bay and then space BEY. So Mound Builder Bay.
Okay.
That's the only social media I really have. And then I just use my phone to get in contact with people. Otherwise, but I'm not like on Facebook or anything else.
Okay.
But I should be uploading like more videos kind of as the years and stuff goes on. So people could probably reach me through YouTube.
Yeah. Okay. Mound Builder Bay.
Yeah.
All right. Yo, Desi, thank you so much. Yo, we went through some difficulties through this vibe, but we persisted, and I'm happy that we did persist. Thank you so much for hopping on here and sharing your experience and your mind.
Where, man, we made it work for sure.
Yeah. Yo. All right. Well, yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. If you like this video, click like. If you have any questions, have any comments, drop a comment. Also, drop a comment on Mound Builder Bay. That's Desi's YouTube channel. So go check that out and also find the content there. Share this with peeps that you think may be interested in this kind of content. And if you want to continue on this journey with me, click subscribe and we can vibe. Peace out.
Peace, bro.
Yo. Vitality.
Right.